Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is the 29th video in my study log. Um, the last couple days I haven't really studied that much, and it's because I've been emotionally overwhelmed. I took some time to meditate to kind of try and rejuvenate my emotional turmoil, and I think it has worked in a lot of ways. It's restored some of the growing negativity within my energetic space. If I don't meditate, I slowly accumulate um, greater and greater anxieties and frustrations about doesn't really matter what. And so at some point in time, I usually have to focus a lot of energy and time on just meditating. And for me, that's like just sitting in a chair and listening to myself and doing relaxing breathing exercises. And then also lying down and maybe napping, or again, breathing exercises, relaxing parts of my body. Just trying to connect with a more peaceful type of energy and a less flustered and uncomfortable and maybe angry. I have lots of different negative emotions sometimes. Now, if you're wondering, did my intense studying bring this about? I would say no. It's not. Studying is a very innocuous thing in life. Studying won't get me evicted from my house. Studying won't, you know, put me on the streets or prevent me from being able to eat or anything like that. Studying won't control my time, energy for the next, 40 years or whatever. Um, Studying is a very autonomous and low pressure activity. I do it in an intense way, but it's low pressure. No one's going to come and complain to me about how poorly I'm studying or how I haven't made enough progress on it or anything like that. Because it's completely self directed, I can apply a mature and healthy level of empathy for myself and pacing. And so it's not the studying. The studying is one of the great aspects of my autonomous decisions. But, life is a bit of a juggling exercise, so sometimes other things uh, get in the way and become, they're fairly challenging. And if you're someone like me, it's like I always like to be ahead of my responsibilities. And if I start procrastinating even a little bit and falling behind, then I tend to have pretty high anxiety spikes. Um, Couple that with like I sometimes lose motivation to do things in the modern world because they seem so pointless. Um, and this kind of leads to, this is more so because this is like a depressive side of me. Um, so in any event, I try and deal with these emotions so that I can, um, you know, keep my life from like spiraling out of control or anything like that. But I have to do things like meditate. So, anyways, I wasn't expecting myself to actually, it's been like 3 or 4 days, since I actually stopped studying. Yeah, so it's been 3 or 4 days, and I didn't expect to be back here, but it was a good day. It was a good day of experimenting. I did a bunch of writing code again, and I reinforced a bunch of the things that I wanted to, like CSS with Flex and with Grid. Um, I didn't get around to using promises again, although that's something that I'll do again soon. I did practice using TypeScript, using hooks again, the different React component life cycles, using the React Pure component so that it'll update only when necessary by doing a shallow comparison of the state and the props, maybe. I worked on an infinite scrolling exercise again, but this time with more realistic data. I worked on basically making a message using the CSS grid layout as well as the CSS flex layout. I'm starting to get better at nesting those things. I use this icon library called React Feather, which is awesome. And I tried to make sure that I used React Router with these exercises as well. And so I covered a whole lot of ground again, and I feel more comfortable and more confident with a lot of the things I'm doing. I created the entire project from scratch again, so I've reinforced some of the commands you have to run. There's 3 main commands. You have the npx create react app -- TypeScript, name of your project. Then you have npm installing libraries, and then you have a pretty important thing, which is like npm -- something at TypeScript. You got to install types for some libraries so that you have autocomplete and so that your TypeScript compiler doesn't freak out. So, long story short, got a whole lot of good, really pragmatic stuff done today. Yeah. So, one of the other things I would say, keeping your mental health and your energetic health, like you have to take care of that unless you want to pay for it down the road, right? So I made it like 28 days, kind of just like pushing through and studying, and I was pretty lucky that I was able to juggle everything while trying really hard to do something. And then, eventually that whole thing kind of cracks under the pressure of real life. But it's a good lesson in learning how to, like, meditate your way out of problems. Basically, the ability to try and fix your own emotional struggles. I'm not medicated or anything like that. I've never been medicated, but I certainly could justify being medicated. But I prefer to take natural actions to try and control my existence rather than pharmaceutical-based solutions. Yeah, so I think part of the thing too, there's a dilemma in the modern world, which is there are these tools that are magnificent and terrible simultaneously. And tools like YouTube and social media, they have undeniable utility, and yet uh, maybe some pretty devastating side effects, right? Again, I think that this is where meditation, for me at least, comes into play. When I spend too much time doing things and not controlling my focus and just doing nothing, and it's like I slowly accumulate more and more um, emotional debt. It's like it feels, I don't even really notice it because I'm in such a whirlwind of like attention switching, or I'm just like focused on something like computer science and I'm not really paying that much attention to um, how I feel or whatever. But if you go on YouTube and some of these other internet sites and stuff like that, um, your attention just keeps flitting from one thing to the next, and after a long enough period of doing that, you're just sort of I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but what I'm trying to say is that it has negative side effects for me, and um, it's important for me to get away from it on a fairly regular basis. And so stepping back and just like meditating for a couple hours for a couple days and not spending as much time watching YouTube or playing video games or studying or just being hooked in, just like looking at my notifications, right? There's like email, analytics, monitoring things, different, bank statements. There's so many different things that you just can look at. You can constantly be context switching, and it's just really good to get out of that stream. And like what I like to do with meditating is to just basically um, just like breathe and not play into those context switching impulses, because it can become an addiction too. You know, you're basically just every 15 minutes you're like looking at this source of stimulation, right? So I think it does play into my problems, but I'm not exactly sure how. But, anyways, this has been a pretty long video and it's been sort of ranty. But yeah, uh, thanks for watching my study log, my study diary, and yeah, try and take care of yourself. And if you're considering, if you've been thinking about it, I highly recommend meditation, and I highly encourage people to try and control their focus. Recognize that in 2021, modern human beings are being assaulted on all different, in many, many different ways, and I think that it's important for you to be independent and healthy and separate from these attention-sucking machines. They want your energy, they want your attention, and it's just good to say no and to be organically separate from them. But you also need to be integrated. That's what's so challenging, right? It's like, if some people are like, if you don't want to get crushed under the waves, don't go out into the ocean and surf. But that's taking an approach that doesn't integrate the great aspects of being out in the ocean surfing a wave. I feel like this is like technology. We have to learn how to surf on technology, and but we can't fall under its crushing might and basically be reduced to a husk of zombie-like addiction or something, which you do see, and it's pervasive through everyone I know, at least at a somewhat benign or innocuous warning level that could grow, and does for some people. But anyways, yeah, so that's my recommendation. Thanks for watching.